From Las Vegas, it's Dry Heat with Mike Davis.
All right, welcome everybody inside the den here at Fox 5 Studios. Mike Davis, Sound Off Sports. I am with the guy who's going to lead the Runnin Rebels back to the promised land. This is the guy. Listen, I just want to tell everybody at home right now, UNLVtickets.com, because you might not be able to be a booster. You might not be able to, help out the NIL, but you can get season tickets right now, and you want to be able to say, before things get cooking, that you were back with this team, this program, this organization, as Josh Pastner is with us, the new head coach of the Runnin Rebels. Josh, this is, Coach, this is a dream job. Your presser, I've never seen so much juice from a coach. I was like, I'm ready to dive for these 50-50 balls for you. Why is this a dream job for you?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me. And you're right. I got to plug this right now. UNLVtickets.com. UNLVtickets.com. Get your tickets now. We need Thomas and Mack filled up to the brink. So please get your tickets. But you're right. Look, I'm a basketball junkie. And what you see with me is what you get when you're talking about the press conference. Yeah. I mean, you
couldn't sit still.
No, and I still can't sit still. What I think the most amazing thing, and I'll get to why this is my dream job in a second. I think the most amazing thing is that I am going, since I got the call of the job, the press conference, and to this day, I've literally gone nonstop, very, very little sleep, and I haven't conked out yet. Like, I haven't sat down at a restaurant and just fell into my food yet. So I think that's an amazing accomplishment to this point.
And you got a whole family. You got a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
We got all these transfer portal things going on. You built a staff, and you're still Energizer Bunny.
Absolutely. And so let me just tell you this. Growing up, obviously knowing about the UNLV basketball team back in the 80s and 90s and watching Coach Tarkanian and that whole group and as you know, it was kind of the coolest of the cool.
Yeah.
And the amount that they were at the level that they were winning at. I mean, there was a stretch there they were winning 88% of the games, which is surreal in sports to win that type of level of winning. And then me being at the University of Arizona as a player and then as assistant coach, knowing how great this job is. Obviously, the rival between Arizona and UNLV, and a lot of it was because of Coach Olson and Coach Tarkanian, but those two were the best of the best.
You called them juggernauts in your presser.
Those two were juggernauts.
Yeah.
It was the powerhouses of on the West Coast. And then me coming here for 30 years for grassroots basketball. My father, Hal Pastner, is involved in grassroots basketball and running tournaments. And I actually played in the May Fisher Classic, which was on the UNLV campus. And the gym's no longer there. The tennis centers took over. I coached in it. And then being here for recruiting. So I always knew about this job. And I've always said it's a sleeping giant. It's an incredible job, the incredible success that they've had here. And I got to pinch myself that I'm sitting in that chair. And it's not my job. I've always said this is Las Vegas's team. This is the city's team. This is all the former players, the former coaches. This is their program.
You called yourself a gatekeeper.
I'm the gatekeeper. I'm just trying to move it forward, re-energize, kind of ignite the fan base, and get it going. So, but when I was able to put that polo on with UNLV, man, the back of my hair on my neck stood up, and it was pretty cool.
But let me understand this, because what I love about you is you're all in. I'm an all in guy too. I know about Sid Pastner. I got notes on Sid Pastner.
You're a high level guy, man. You're high level.
But you're all in like me, which I love. So after Georgia Tech, after obviously Memphis, you're doing TV with Turner, ESPN, Peacock, NBC, all this stuff. I'm sure there was interest in Josh Pastner for a long time with a lot of jobs. And were you just kind of saying, thank you so much for the call, but I'm not really interested? And then finally this UNLV, you called it, I think, a waking giant. Like, was that really the situation when you got the call and there was interest and all that stuff occurring?
Well, here's what happened. I love television. And
you're good at it.
And I had a lot of people, the bosses at those networks that were high level were like, they really liked me. And so, which was a great thing, Right. And I did have other opportunities to be a head coach during that time. But every time I was like, I had this pit in my stomach. I was like, because I wanted to coach again. I love coaching. I want to, and I was like, I just don't think that's better than television, and it's better than the opportunities that I have. And I just kind of had that pit, and I didn't feel right about it. When the UNLV job opened, totally different. And they reached out to me to to interview, I never 1 second had that pit in my stomach. I had such enthusiasm, excitement. I wanted the job. I remember I was doing the tournament at Turner. I was on fast break, and I remember that, during the time that was part of the interview process, or they were calling and following up on different calls and talking to different candidates. And I was trying to manage, trying to sneak out to take some calls when they were calling to ask certain questions, because I was in the middle of television. In the middle of TV, you're there all, especially during the tournament. It's a long time. So it was just an interesting time. But I didn't have that pit. And it was more of just everything was such enthusiasm and excitement. And I mentioned that I think this is a sleeping giant. Yeah. But the trees just need to be kind of rattled a little bit.
But here's the truth, and that's why I love you. We've never had this much juice inside the den, and that's because Coach Pastner's here. But let's talk about this, because the truth is, I'm 33. I grew up on the East Coast. Since I've been here for 6 years, yes, Vegas has always been an entertainment capital of the world. And you mentioned in your presser, it's the entertainment capital of the world. It's now the sports capital of the world. But since I've been here for 6 years, it's been about the Raiders. It's been about the Aces. It's been about the fact that the Athletics are coming. It's about the Golden Knights. It's not about UNLV basketball. But the fact is, you've gotten to work quick. I mean, if we're talking about not sleeping, let's talk transfer portal before we get to your whole career and everything that happened as a youngster. Because when I was 13, you went to Temple Beth Torah. I went to Temple Beth Shalom. At 13, I was just worried about, Zakev Katon, Haftorah. You're doing a scouting service. So we're going to get into all that. But let's start with what is happening right now, because the transfer portal, you are embracing this new era of college basketball. You understand it. You were in the 97 Arizona Wildcat championship team. You sent out handwritten notes to every coach when you were in high school. In 5th grade, you knew after watching Lakers Celtics, you wanted to be a coach. In high school, when you're playing, the JV coach gets fired and you put your name in the hat and your resume so you could be like a Bill Russell as a player coach in high school. So you always wanted to be a coach, but to have somebody who respects the game, who knows the process from Calipari and Lute and understands the old but understands the new.
That's right.
That's what we need, baby. That's why you got to go to UNLVtickets.com, because let's go through some of these guys. Miles Che, UC Irvine. A lot of big programs wanted him. He's now here. We have a transfer guy from Alabama. We got people who were coming from Arizona. We got a 7-foot, 230 guy named Emmanuel Steffen who's going to be here. We got guys who were overlooking Kamani Hamilton. Kentucky wanted him. Cincinnati, Indiana, NC State, Arkansas, Georgia. These guys are coming here now. What are you doing? What is the special sauce? Because I get the juice from, I got you. But tell everybody at home what's going on and why we got like 10, 12 guys now who are going to reignite this team.
Well, first of all, let me just say this. You talked about all the different teams here,
yes,
with the Raiders and
the Knights
and the Knights. I mean, just everybody. Yeah. And there might be an NBA team coming into Vegas, which is probably going to happen in the next few years. So let me talk about that first. I'm a guy that looks at the glass as not half full.
No, it's
but overflowing.
Yeah,
I look at it as overflowing. So instead of looking at that as a negative, I'm looking at that as a positive. I'm like, man, what a great selling point to say, XYZ's here in this city. It's the epicenter of the sports world. It's the epicenter of the entertainment world. I mean, when you think of Las Vegas, it's worldwide. And so I'm the other way thinking, man, I think this is great to sell and it's awesome. Yeah. And so I think that's been part of a great thing of our sell in that. Now look, we've got to, in our recruiting, and a lot of the things that we were able to sell in the recruiting is look, how we want to play, style of play, what we want to do, what we're about, all the great things in Las Vegas and the surrounding areas. But I also want to say, as much as we talk about, people think, and this, Vegas being maybe glitz and glamour, it's really a blue collar town. Yeah. Like, it's about putting your hard hat on, your working boots on, rolling the sleeves up. And I've got to be out there as much as I can in the trenches to try to re-energize everyone to get excited about their team, not my team, their team. And then when the product's on the floor and they're watching their team play, and of course, look, you understand because you've been in sports for your whole life. Winning solves everything, but more than that, they've got to have such enthusiasm and excitement and appreciation for their team, the way they play. And look, there's going to be nights where you're not shooting the ball well. There's going to be some times where you struggle, have an off night offensively. You can never not have an off night effort-wise. You can never not have an off night diving on that floor for that 50-50 loose ball. So when that person who's paying that money for that season ticket, or that person who's giving money for an NIL, or a family of 5 or 6 or 4 is coming to for an entertainment value, they want to see where that loose ball's right there, and they're diving 2 hands, 2 feet for that ball, because winning that possession is more important than breathing.
More Dry Heat after the break. You're watching Dry Heat with Mike Davis.
UNLVtickets.com. Do you hear what this guy is saying? I mean, you want to be here for these games, but here's the thing, Coach. Since Tark, that's been lost. How are you the first guy that I can see has that juice, that energy, that passion? I think it's because you have a special makeup, and I want to go to the beginning with you. So let's talk about this. So 13 years old. Okay, you grew up in the Kingwood area of Houston. Right. Hal Pastner, we already spoke about him a little bit. High top hoops, Houston hoops. He's big in the game of basketball because his children, you have a sister who is great as well at basketball. So he really took to basketball because you guys knew you wanted to do that as young kids. But at 13, ladies and gentlemen, when you're a Jewish kid at 13, you have a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety. You got to go up on this bima. You got to start reading the Haftarah. You got to read from the Torah. You got to have a special parsha. You got to do all these things. You got to do a bar mitzvah project. While you're doing all that, you had a bar mitzvah, right?
Well, look, all those things you mentioned.
Yeah.
The doing a scouting service and trying to evaluate, like I'm 13 at the time, and you're trying to evaluate players, because here's what happened when everyone was in the gym, okay, and everyone was in the gym, and so when we play a game, because it was at that age, most people when the game's over they'd all want to go to the mall or just kind of hang out, go somewhere. I wanted to stay in the gym all day long. I was a gym rat. I loved watching basketball. So what happened is I would be in the gym and watch these games, and I started just writing down, like, hey man, I saw player A, player B, player C, and do these. And so what happened was I just developed a scouting service. It was called the Josh Pastner Scouting Service. I started sending it out to college coaches.
At 13?
At 13. A lot of the coaches called back and wanted to order the scouting service. My dad had to tell him he was just doing it for fun. I wasn't doing, I was doing it more to just being around the game. And so, and going back, when I was in 5th grade, I remember watching, as you mentioned, the Lakers and Celtics on one of the national networks. And I remember turning to my father. I remember vividly telling my dad, I want to coach. If I can't stand, I want to play in the NBA. I want to play in the NBA, but I said, but if I can't play in the NBA, the next best thing to playing was coaching. And that's kind of where all that hit. Okay, and that's where the Houston hoops started. Then he got into Vision Sports, Bigfoot hoops, now doing high top hoops. Now, all along, I thought I was going to play in the NBA. And I wrote letters, as you mentioned, to every single Division I, Division II, handwritten.
To every D1.
Over 1,000 personal handwritten letters. Now, I thought I was going to play in the NBA. I worked my tail off. Like, I was a good shooter. I had this vision. I get to the University of Arizona. Within about 12 seconds, in the first pickup game I was in late August, I knew my career was over. When I recognized the speed, the athleticism, the size, the length, me being able to stand in the corner and just shoot threes wasn't going to do it.
But wait, real quickly before we get to that, because you're also coaching AAU at 17,
Houston hoops,
all that stuff. But
boys and girls.
But you're saying that you wrote handwritten letters to every Division I school, and only Lute Olson was the one guy who got back to you?
Well, here's what happened. So I sort of recruited myself to everybody. So I wrote all these letters trying to say I wanted to be a coach. I'd be a great positive influence. I thought I was in my mind, I thought I was a good player. I could come play for you still, all those type of things. So I wrote all these personal handwritten, not like some form letter, like personal handwritten letters. And obviously back then there was
a different day.
Yeah.
Just even finding an email address was there's no email. So it's like,
this is in the mid 90s,
right.
95, 95 around then. So there was no email.
Right.
You're writing, you got to put the stamp on and all that good stuff, and handwrite the envelope. And but there were some schools that reached back to me. I mean, but one of them was Arizona. It wasn't like thousands. It was a few schools. And one school of them was Arizona. And I think Coach Olson felt, hey man, this guy could come watch film, work guys out, and it wouldn't count against the rules. And I could do all those things as a player. And that's kind of in his vision. Obviously, his vision was I was never going to be a player there. My vision was. You even
wrote in these letters you weren't expecting any playing time.
Right.
You really had your head on straight.
I wanted to coach. I really wanted to coach.
Now, my brother, which is fascinating, another shorter Jewish kid from Philadelphia, he played at LaSalle as a walk-on for Coach John Giannini. So what he would do as a walk-on,
Dr. G,
right before NIL, is he would be scout team. He would do all those types of. So it was a very similar thing. And then a lot of those guys develop into grad assistants and all that.
Was he on the team that went to the Sweet 16?
That was the year before him. He came in the next year.
Gotcha.
And
Dr. G, I know him, very great guy, and he's doing television now.
Right, exactly. And so Big Five, all that stuff. It's a big stuff. Your dad has spoken a lot about that. Is he going to be at some of these games?
Of course.
Okay, good. Because before we started the program, we were talking a little bit. I said, how's
my dad? How's my father?
How's your dad? Yeah. He was a ball boy for the Philadelphia Warriors with Wilt Chamberlain growing up in that area.
The 100-point game of Wilt Chamberlain, reel to reel, starting in the second quarter, was around the 30-point mark because they thought it was going to be something special. They taped it reel to reel. They gave a copy to him and his mother. They gave one back to him. My dad, the Hall of Fame, the Naismith Hall of Fame, has asked my dad for that copy. But my dad, at the time, when you're not thinking, and he has so many boxes and things. He had this storage. And my dad's he's my guy. I mean, but he's like at this huge storage of things, and he's just never gone through it. And he said maybe one day, and he'll go through it, but he just hasn't,
So he's got the historic 100-point.
Yeah, which is crazy. But anyway, so that's that. And then Dr. Jack Ramsey took over the team, and he brought my father in and said, hey, we want to keep you here, but you got to cut your hair. My dad had really long hair. And my dad, during that time period, my dad said, no, I'm going to keep my hair. So he said he ended up leaving the team and just moving on and doing something. Yeah,
but you're living it out for him.
Dry Heat with Mike Davis will be right back.
Jay Wright said beautiful things about this guy. Coach K, Calipari, everybody loves you. Before we let you go, I have a few quick questions for you. First of all, we got a gift for you. We got a gift in here. I just want you to open this up. Open this up. So I want to find out what the deal is with this. So what's the deal with the rice?
Here's
it's just more and more.
I love rice. So here's the thing. First of all, I'm 47, but I feel like I'm 27.
Yeah.
I'm in the best shape of my life. But I love to eat. I love to eat, and I love to eat rice for whatever reason. Last night, I was at a restaurant.
Yes.
I ordered this big thing of rice. I ate that. Then I got a beef dish with more rice. So I'm just a guy that can eat rice. In fact, when I was at ESPN, they would have, when we got those long days, they would come in and give you the long
like craft services.
Well, they would give you like for everyone there, because it was 14-hour days. They would cater in food, so it would be like one of these days where they had different things, and it'd be rice. I would just take the rice on the plate, go eat it all, go back and take more rice, like 5 servings of rice just on my plate. For whatever reason it is, I'm a rice guy. So I appreciate this. Now, I'm living at a hotel, so I don't know if I can eat, but I will save this, put this in my office, and find a way to eat it.
More Dry Heat after the break.
Couple last things. I just want quick yes or no, because I'm curious, because I know a lot about you. You've never had alcohol.
Correct.
Never smoked a cigarette.
Correct.
Never had a soda.
Correct. Never had a carbonated drink, so I never had a soda.
No coffee either.
Never had a sip of coffee.
as a coach with this much to do, what are you running on?
Yeah, on life. On life, if you go to my X handle, Coach J Pastner.
Yeah.
On the top there, I talk about every day is a gift, every breath is a gift, every heartbeat is a gift. I don't just say that. People can say that and think and not really mean it. I really live by that. Like every second is so precious, and I'm a guy that believes that lives by that. Of gratefulness and gratitude just for life in general. So yeah, I've been able just to go, and it's just, you ever seen Jerry Maguire's where the guy, Dickie Fox, and he says, wakes up and he says, great day to be alive, or whatever his exact word. That's kind of how I am, just moving forward on everything that we do.
Listen, there's a different energy in the den today having Coach Pastner here. This is going to be big time stuff. We're so glad to have you here in Las Vegas as head coach of the Runnin Rebels. There's just so many great days ahead, so many great years ahead, and the proof is in the Pastner, and we're so excited.
That's an NIL deal opportunity right there. I love that.
We can do so much stuff with this NIL. I'm going to get to work on it as well. UNLVtickets.com. Go get season tickets. Contribute to the boosters, the NIL. We want to be a part of the revitalization, the reigniting of the Runnin Rebels here in Las Vegas. It's all thanks to Coach Josh Pastner. Josh, thanks for spending so much time with us, getting
thanks
to know
for having
you.
me here. Yep.
It's been a
Mazel
pleasure.
tov to all your success too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Listen, Hal and Marla.
And mazel tov to your brother.
Yes, we'll talk about that too. Hank Davis played for Coach G, did the whole thing. Didn't go in the coaching though. He became a good Jewish boy and became a doctor, unfortunately. So, I'm a few rungs down.
You know what? That's might be even better than coaching to be a doctor. You're saving lives. You're doing a lot of things, and so I get it.
You're going to be saving a lot of lives here for us as well. Coach, thanks so much. And guys, make sure you go to our YouTube page. Check out everything we got going there, Silver State Sports and Entertainment, as well as Fox 5, and go to UNLVtickets.com. Coach Josh Pastner. Thanks so much, Josh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching Dry Heat with Mike Davis. Go to our YouTube page, Silver State Sports, to hear our complete interviews.